Now, finally, let's talk about this F the streets movement that's going on. One, I want to clarify, I am not from the streets. I did not grow up rich, though, at all. I came from Europe, from a war-torn country, came to America. My parents were poor, but they made it to a decent level financially, where as long as they could give us clothes, food, and electricity, house to stay in, stuff like that, I was more than happy, right? We weren't rich, never grew up in a rich place, but I was around some people in my school that, gang bang, that did drugs and stuff like that. So I was around some street people. I never was in the streets gang banging, shooting all that shit up. I just never found that interesting, never thought it was a smart thing to do, even though there were certain moments where I stole here and there at stores and shit like that, getting around the wrong people. But that's kind of my history, my quick, brief history. Just because you're not from the streets doesn't mean you're a soft person or you don't, you're not strong, tough, whatever. All that shit is played out. So anybody who's saying, oh, you're not from the street, you don't understand the street lifestyle, you don't understand the toughness, blah, blah, blah. That's not the point of the streets. The point of the streets is different shit that I'm not, quote unquote, qualified to speak on. But I will talk about, the whole what's going on with this movement, right? And I'm going to talk about the pros and cons. To be honest with you, I'm all for all the bullshit being put aside in this music and hip hop. I fell in love with hip hop because here's the thing. 50 is my favorite rapper, right? 50 talked about a lot of street stuff in his music. 50 also did some street stuff. But here's a huge but that a lot of rappers in today's time don't do. 50 in interviews said that was a lifestyle that if I had to be able to choose and if I was in a better position in my life, I would have never done. And he downplays all of that stuff. He says, hey, I don't smoke, I don't drink, doing all this stuff. I only did it because I had to do it to survive. That's it. He downplays it in interviews. He always said, hey, this is not the way you want to go. I would have rather gone the college route. I would have rather done different things, but that's the cards that life gave me. Nowadays, you got, not saying 21 Savage or any of these other artists, because I don't know every single 21 Savage song or any of these newer artists, but a lot of these newer ones, especially the newer ones, they'll make fun of dead people. They'll go to the person's grave, shoot a music video, making fun of the person dead. They won't denounce the street stuff. They'll go on IG Live and triple down on it. They'll flash guns. They'll do a bunch of dumb shit that just promotes more violence and ignorance in hip hop. And it's unfortunate. If these people were talking about street stuff in their music and then downplaying it in their interviews and saying, listen, that's the environment that it came from. It's not something that I encourage and glorify and all this, I'd be like, okay, that's reasonable, right? Because it's entertainment to a certain extent with music, right? You can rap about the street stuff. It's entertainment. But when you're rapping about dead people and making fun of them and smoking on this op and doing all this, that's too far. That's where it gets ignorant and just dumb. And I don't fuck with that kind of music. I just don't. So that's my kind of take on, there needs to be a better, I don't mind a rapper rapping about the street stuff if they come from it, even some that have seen it from other people. I don't mind that either. But then when you go in interviews and you triple down on that stuff, or you say, or you're not even from that type of stuff and you're completely rapping about it and you get exposed as somebody who's never been in that type of lifestyle, William Roberts, that's, the difference. So let's first go over this stuff. And, 21 Savage, in order to promote his album, and I think this is all promotion. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't think any of this is genuine. I hope some of it is, because I like the route of, stopping all the ignorant, dumb shit. I like that route. That's the route we should have been going a long time ago. But if it takes this to finally go the proper route, then be great. But 21 Savage tweeted, and said, Gunna, Young Thug, y'all guys fix that stuff. Y'all love each other. You knew Gunna wasn't no gangster when he told the first time, and we swept it under the rug for you. He wasn't trying to leave you hanging. F the streets. We ain't get shit but trauma from that shit. Thug quoted then said, F the streets at 21 Savage. And then this whole movement started where F the streets, we don't rock with the streets. YFN Lucci said F the streets. G Herbo said off the streets. Pooh Shiesty said traumatized, F the streets. And that's what, 21 Savage explains. Because he started getting backlash from gangsters and saying, you come from the streets, now you're just disowning it and saying it's bad, blah, blah, blah. He said this, so he clarified. He said, when I say F the streets, I'm talking about the part of the game that gave me trauma and made me can't sleep at night. It made me can't sleep at night. It doesn't sound right. If you ain't tired of that part, you ain't been through it. So he's saying basically the trauma, the side of like, hey, dealing with all this burden and not being able to sleep properly and all this stuff, right? Then apparently because of this, Quavo and Offset got on FaceTime to squash whatever issues they had. And 21 Savage had a call recently promoting the unity after Savage advised Thugger to forgive Gunna. We'll see if it actually happens. In any case, Set spoke on the message during an interview with V103. He said, I feel like it's honestly a beautiful message to put out. You know, it's powerful for our city, that stuff. And apparently they're going to be on the, you know, they got on the phone to end their issues. From there, they obviously got backlash. And 6ix9ine was one of the first people to get backlash. He said Tekashi 6ix9ine was going hard at Fabio Foreign a couple of years ago, but it seems like their fiery feud might have gotten an opportunity to hatchet burial. That's because after Streets movement that 21 Savage, Young Thug, and many other rappers have promoted this week. 6ix9ine already clowned Young Thug and 21 Savage, but many folks didn't expect a Brooklyn drill MC to chime in so nonchalantly. So what did 6ix9ine say? Now it's F the streets, Tekashi posted on his Instagram story. But remember, when it was, yo, 6ix9ine, we don't care about your platinum records. We platinum in the streets. But now it's F the streets. So he's calling out, you know, hypocrisy in this type of field, right? Fabio Foreign said, not going to lie, this one time 6ix9ine's goofy ass was right. The streets keep me moving. I'm assuming he meant moving, and keep me and mine's good. And guess what? I better not see one guy from the streets support nobody that say F the streets. I don't care who you are. Nobody get a pass at my eyes. The streets is the reason why a lot of these guys in these positions, I never turn my back on my biggest support system. How guys help change the streets or say the streets. Nah, LOL. I can't just let you guys say F the streets. Here's a misconception, right? Do the streets really support you in your music career? Is it the streets actually buying your music, guys? Like, let's actually sit down and analyze this. It's mainly white people that fuck with your music. Let's just be honest here, right? A lot of white people actually buy music and not bootleg it. And minorities bootleg a lot of it. Not to say all of them, but that's the majority. And that's been proven time in and time out. You look at the concerts, a lot of white people are attending the concerts instead of other minority groups. That's just the reality. So really, are the streets supporting your career? Yeah. Could there have been people in the streets that rock with you and notice you and help? Of course. But the whole F the streets, like 21 Savage said, is not like fuck the people. It's about, you know, the whole trauma that comes with it. But Boozy then chimed in. And Boozy actually had something interesting to say. He said, if the rappers go say F the streets, y'all need to stop rapping about them. Stop double dipping. Rap about fruits, college courses, and staying out the streets. If you're from the streets shaped you to the man you are today. Your mindset, your hustle, your intuition, etc. come from the streets. Your support came from the streets. Yes, I want every kid to make it out the streets. That's what we all want, but I'm never saying F the streets. They responsible for our success. Don't forget, every successful independent record label started from where the streets. All yo music came from the streets. Yo, by my mama, you met her in the streets, so it's F the streets. So if it's F the streets, don't rap about them. Simple as that. Show the world fans how good of artists y'all is, and take the streets all the way out of y'all rap vocabulary. I mean, I don't know, man. You know, and then Charleston White said, stand on this shit. I hate you, hypocritical guys. You know, frauds. Here's the thing, man. There's a lot of different backlash coming at it. I think it's really as simple as this, man. Let's stop at least the crazy violence in the music. Like I said, the op smoking, the pissing on funerals, the laughing about people getting killed, whatever. Like, that shouldn't be co-signed. There shouldn't be mainstream rappers saying, yo, I fuck with this guy. You know, if they're connected to any gang ties. Like, there needs to be a certain line set where, like, hey, this is entertainment. We can rap about this gangsta stuff, but in real life, we need to keep it very professional. We need to not encourage this stuff. And that's why I was using 50 Cent as an example. 50, the music was gangsta entertaining, but in interviews, you would hear him downplay a lot of that. A lot. I mean, he would say no smoking, no drinking. I don't, you know, like I said earlier in the video. That's what I'm talking about, is like, downplay it. Don't promote it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Why don't we have artists like that anymore? Why don't we have artists that are gangsta, but then in interviews say, hey, this isn't cool. Jay-Z, been in the streets, done all that shit. Interviews, very professional, doesn't promote that shit. It's crazy that those artists don't really exist anymore, man. They don't. That's the way I'm taking it. That's the way I think. I think there needs to be an artist, the newer generation artists, that downplay it and say, hey, man, yeah, this is what I said in the music, But, I don't really promote that, man. It's just entertainment. It's what I used to do. It's what I used to live. But now, I'm in a mansion. I'm rich. That type of stuff that happened when I was in that position in my life. But I don't condone it. I don't sit out here and promote it every single time. And that's really what it boils down to. It needs to be a balance. It can't just be, yo, gangsta shit in the music. Oh, fuck this guy, kill this guy, do this. Fuck my ops, smoke my ops. And then interviews, fuck my ops, smoke my ops, show your pistols, show all that, like that's overdoing it. There needs to be a balance, a better, keep the professionalism in here. Even if you're from the streets, keep the professionalism. Know how to build a brand, know how to respect yourself, know how to respect elders in hip hop that came before you as well, because there's a lot that just say fuck you, you're old, you're what is it, forget the word, but all that shit. There needs to be better authority. There needs to be better higher tiers where artists understand that, hey, these young guys, yeah, they're young, crazy. They probably won't listen to me as much, but let's set an image. Let's say that let's show them that we can grow older. We can build businesses. We can have longevity. And a lot of them are showing that, thankfully. Yeah, I think the message was taken the wrong way. But regardless, out of all this that I just said, I think it's just a publicity stunt. You want to know why I think it's a publicity stunt? The album's called What Happened to the Streets. All of a sudden, it's F the Streets. It relates to the album title. The album wasn't good at all. The streams weren't good. All of a sudden, it got a boost in streams, which was very suspicious. And they actually re-rolled those. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit when I talk about the sales of the album. But I think a lot of this was just for promotion, man. You got to think, YFN Lucci and Young Thug are on probation. If they mess up and encourage violence, they're going to go right back to jail. So why not? They're going to start saying F the streets. We're not a part of that gangsta stuff. Well, they should have been saying this stuff a long time ago. They should have not been. This is the problem. Once you make it, stop doing dumb gangster shit. Stop it. It's that simple. Just stop. And I know people are going to be like, oh, but you can be tied to the streets, and they can, yeah, you can't just completely get your foot out of it. I understand certain aspects of that. But if you go to the YFN Lucci Young Thug thing, did that really have to get to the point where people are shooting each other's moms and damn near killing people? Like, does it have to go to that level? Does anybody in the group say, hey, let's think about this logically, man. We're millionaires. We're making legal money here. We're really going to fuck this up for something that was said to a certain extent? And I get it. Some people that are in the crew, and even Fat Joe said this on this Joe and Jada podcast, there are people that will blow your head off just because they want that notoriety, they want that credibility from you. I get that. But here's another example. And here, I always go back to 50. 50 had Bang'em Smurf with him. Bang'em Smurf was a street guy that 50, put under his wing. 50 said Bang'em Smurf was going around shooting shit up without 50 even saying a word. He was just doing gangsta street stuff for him. And 50 was like, what the fuck are you doing? You're fucking up my money. You're fucking up everything that we're building. If you start getting involved in gang street shit, then it's going to tie to me and I'm going to get locked up for some dumb shit. And that's the point, is once you get into the music industry and you are making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, get out of the street stuff. Denounce it. Do interviews saying, hey, that's my past life. I'm just rapping about it. That's my experience. That's it. Instead, we have these rappers that are still pushing into it, still promoting it. We have some artists that have never been involved in the streets going to the streets after they make it, which makes no fucking sense. Who's the perfect example? Chris Brown. Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy started getting into street shit. And he came out with Crank That. He could have gone the route of like a fucking Will Smith Disney Channel type shit. Made way more money. Soulja Boy could have been in a huge different position had he played his cards right. But no, he made it, started getting involved in street shit. Why? To seem cool in front of people? Why? And that's the mentality I want to shift. I want to shift that mentality. That's the number one thing that has been hurting hip-hop overall is, first of all, promoting the violence, continuing to it, even after you make it out, and acting like you're still street and be in the streets and all that. And some are, which is stupid, once again. Like, try to get out of it. Even if some of you are embroiled in it deep. Look at Chief Keef, deeply embroiled in it, where everyone around him damn near died. He got out of there. He got to a different state, did his own thing. Doesn't matter. Got out of it. You can get out of it to a certain extent. I get it. Some people will die. Some things will happen. And it's, you want to retaliate. I understand all this, all the range of human emotions that go with all this stuff, right? It makes perfect sense. I can understand it. Maybe not to the certain extent that if, because if it was happening to me, it'd be a different story. And it's easier to say on my end because I didn't have somebody murder somebody in my family and then I want to go retaliate. But there needs to be a certain understanding that if I do this, if I continue this, it's going to lead for worse things in general for everybody. And it's hard to understand that in that moment. But my point is these older artists need to jump in. And they should have been saying this. They should have been saying, hey, this is dumb. You guys are going to go down a path. Why not go down the path of dropping all this? You made it. You're rich right now. Whether you're making hundreds of thousands a month or you're making millions, you're rich. Get out of the streets. Try to grab as much people as you can. Help them out. If you can't and they're still stuck in their street mentality, leave them. You have to evolve. And that's that simple. That's the problem with it. That's really the problem with it. And that's the way I view this F the streets thing. Is that's what should happen. Is these artists need to leave that street shit alone once they make it and move on. And try your best to stay away from it as much as you can. And if you made it without having to do street stuff, like Chris Brown and Soulja Boy, don't go in it acting tough. Don't go in it trying to get involved. Like Drake is another example. Drake's gotten way more into the street stuff. And it's like, why do that, man? Just play your role. That's it. You made it, bro. You made it. You're living a life that most people never live in their life. They don't even make that kind of money ever. They'll never see $1 million in a year ever in their life. That's like 99% of people. And yet you're willing to fuck all that up for dumb shit. And that's my whole rant about this is that mindset needs to change, man. That mindset of once I make it, get out of it. And unfortunately, a lot of artists used to be like that. Now it's like reversed and it's gotten worse. All the artists from the 2000s, man, they would denounce that shit. Maybe because it's PR training. Maybe they're just, I don't know, man. Maybe they just had more of a head on their shoulders. I don't know. But there were a lot of artists you would see in interviews that wouldn't talk that street stuff, man. They'll be like, man, that's my past. I'm not proud of that past. I had to go through it. I rap about it. Am I promoting it? Maybe. I don't know. But I'm making music about my experience. And that's all an artist can do is make music about their experience. So that's my take on it. That was a long-ass rant, but that's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think of that kind of aspect of it. I'm all for the bad shit in hip-hop being eliminated. This shit of, promoting violence and laughing at dead people and smoking ops and all this other stuff, I'm not for it. That's why I don't like a lot of the newer music, man. It's just gotten way too extreme on that side. And really, a lot of artists just sound the same. So that's another factor. But that's my take on it.